Hello everyone, thank you for inviting me into your living room today to tell you a story I call the Summer of '73. It was a summer full of learning experiences. In our senior year of high school, my buddy John and I were planning all year long to go to New Jersey. At the end of the year, at the end of the school year, we were going to turn 18 and there was nothing our parents could do to keep us home. His grandfather lived there and we were going to drive to New Jersey, spend a week with him, and then drive all the way back. We figured it would take us about 3 weeks total. We had $380, and indeed, if we were frugal and responsible people, we could have made it there and back with $380. Well, the best laid plans often go awry, as you know, and, well, here's the story. Our first day trip was very short. We went from Marin County up to Sparks, Nevada. In Sparks, Nevada, there's a place called the Mustang Dude Ranch. That is a house of ill repute. And my buddy John, who had already had his virgin experience, wanted me to have it too. So we went to the Mustang Dude Ranch that evening, and I had the experience. I don't know what the big deal was. It wasn't all that great. Whatever. I had the experience. It was good. He was satisfied. From there, we stayed the night in Sparks and then took off for North Dakota. On the way to North Dakota, we got wind of a big festival. It was called the Rainbow Festival, and it was kind of like supposed to be like a Woodstock. It was way up in some deep desert mountain area of Wyoming. So we took a detour, full day on detour to go there. And we got there, it was too late. We were there, actually it took us about 2 days to get there, and we were just too late. The music had stopped, and it was the very last day, and everybody was walking out of the park. Well, thankfully, they let us into the park so we could still camp, and we found a campsite with a bunch of other young people like me. And it really must have been a heck of a party, because the people we saw walking out of that park, man, they looked like absolute zombies. There were rumors that there were jugs of water that were laced with acid, and oh my God, I just could imagine what was going on down there during that festival. But what was interesting for me at the campsite was talking with all these people that I'd never met before. People from all over the country went to this Rainbow Festival, and they had such different perspectives than I did. I was from Marin County. That's all I knew was the Marin County perspective of things. I never left Marin County except to go on vacation with my parents. So the lesson learned there was that everybody around the country has different perspectives, and their perspectives aren't necessarily wrong. They're just different. And it was a great lesson learned. So from the Rainbow Festival, we went up to South Dakota to see Mount Rushmore, and we finally got there. It seemed like it took us forever to get there. Fantastic monument. I mean, incredible feat of ingenuity to build that structure, to build that monument. What I didn't know, though, and what came to my attention while I was there, was that the Native Americans didn't really appreciate it very much. They were protesting out front, so we stopped to listen to what they had to say. And it was their mountains and their land that was they felt desecrated. So while it was really a tremendous monument, I have that knowledge now, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that lesson learned. Well, from there, we took the southern road to go south through the desert. And it was hot. It was very, very hot. And by now we were, 5 or 6 days into our trip already. So getting to Grandpa's house, my son's Grandpa's house, in a week was out of the question. But anyway, we're driving through the desert. And we come to an intersection in the middle of nowhere. Blazing hot sun. It's a 4-way stop sign. Couple guys on the other side hitchhiking. I mean, and they were baked, they were beet red. One guy was on the ground not moving. The other guy was sitting there holding his hand up barely. So we had to stop, at least to give him some water to find out what was going on. As it turns out, they were there for 3 long days. In that hot, baking sun, nobody would stop. Hardly anybody came by for them, and then nobody would stop for them. So if we'd left them there, they would have died. There's just no doubt about it. So what we did was we rearranged our car. Our car was full, but we did what we had to do. We got them in their backpacks and everything in. We actually had to carry the one guy into the car and place him in there. his buddy sat next to him and took his canteen and poured water into his mouth. He goes, he was just dribbling the water into his cracked lips, and he could barely swallow. The nearest town was about 3 hours away, and by the time he got there, thankfully, he had consumed enough water to where he got to sit up, and he was starting to talk again and so on. So, boy, it was pretty scary. Now, the lesson learned there is don't ever go into the desert unprepared. I mean, the desert is very, very unforgiving. So we dropped him off at a medical facility and headed out to the other side of town to continue our trip. Well, there we picked up another hitchhiker, and he was Native American. He was all dressed up in a black suit type thing with nice black shoes, and he looked like a real city slicker. And he was chatting away, and he wanted us to give him a ride out to his reservation. And so we did, and it was fun talking with him, and he was telling us about all the nightlife and stuff. And he would go from the res to the town every once in a while, like hardly anybody ever did from his res, but he did. And he wanted that experience. So we went to drop him off, and he goes, you guys look real tired. You want some pills to keep you awake? Here, I'll sell you these bennies here. These Benzedrine is what it was. And he goes, I'll sell you these, and it'll keep you awake. So we're, okay, sure. So we gave him some money. Our money is dwindling fast at this point. We take the pills, drop them off, and off we go. Pop a few pills, thinking we're going to be alert and awake. Well, that's not what happened. What happened was we both got severe cases of diarrhea. And oh my goodness, it was a very rough 24 hours. We were stopping at every single gas station we passed just to relieve ourselves. It was really pretty uncomfortable. Lesson learned, don't ever get your drugs from someone you don't know. Bad idea. We picked up another hitchhiker on the way. This was, a day or two later. And we're getting, again, now we're back, we're into like 9 days to get to our destination that we had planned to get there in 7 days. Well, this was an old codger. Well, an old codger to us. He was probably 55 years old. But he had like this big, thick red mustache and kind of a gray-red beard, He hadn't been shaved. He hadn't been clean-shaven or anything. His hat was a tattered cowboy hat. He had a plaid shirt on, a belt buckle, and blue jeans that were tucked into his old raggedy boots, cowboy boots. So he was an old tough guy, talked like this. And, he was funny, though. He cracked us up. We had a good time with him, talking, chit-chatting. We were driving for hours. Finally, we came to a little town, and we were hungry. So we said, let's stop and get something. He goes, I know this town. Go on over here. He goes, take that left there and go down right there. And he took us to the back parking lot of a bar. He said, yeah, they got food here, too, not just booze. So give me your money. I'll go on there and get some sandwiches. I know the guy there. He'll do us right. Okay, fine. Give him our money. 45 minutes later, the dude finally came out. He was just in a jolly mood. He was feeling really good. Gave us each a sandwich, a bologna sandwich. One slice of bologna between 2 pieces of white bread. We're like, this took 45 minutes? He said, they were real busy in there. They were real busy. Okay, well, where's the change? There ain't no change. That's what it took it all. It took everything you had. Lesson learned, folks. Don't ever give your lunch money to a stranger. Anyway, off we went. We took off. I think we had to drop him off another mile away or so, and off we went. We ended up going south, down Tennessee, through Kentucky, over the Blue Ridge Mountains, to South Carolina, where we had an experience with moonshine that we had never had before. And from there, we finally got to my buddy's grandfather's house, and we called him Gramps. Well, when we got there, it had been 2 weeks since we started our trip, and we had $5 left to our name. That was it, $5. We figured, we'll call our parents in the morning, and hopefully they'll give us some money. They probably will give us some money to help us get back, in a week or so. But we had $5, so let's go spend it. So we drive down this mile-long driveway into this town called Boonton, and we bought a bottle of Southern Comfort. You see, the drinking age out there was only 18 at the time, so we were in hog heaven. We bought this bottle of Southern Comfort, and we drank the whole thing. Soon it started getting dark, and then it started to rain. So my buddy says, we better get going. Gramps is going to get worried. So we take off, and by the time we get to the bottom of the mile-long driveway, it's dark. And my buddy decides he's Mario Andretti, and he starts racing up the driveway. That nice hot Mustang, right? And he's going around corners, and I was in the very top, just before we turned the corner to see the house we were staying at. Boom! We slid off the road, slid off the driveway, and smashed into a tree, completely disabling the car. Broke the axle. The horn was blaring. We're drunk. I mean, I ended up underneath the dashboard. He ended up bending the steering wheel. I don't know how we didn't get hurt. Guess we were just too relaxed or something. Anyway, we pick up the hood and we're yanking the wires because we couldn't get the horn to stop. And finally, the horn stopped. The silence was we were so thankful for the silence in the rain. And we said, oh boy, so we walked to the house knowing we were going to face the music in the morning. So we tell Gramps what's happened. You pinhead! That's what he called me from that point forward, all summer long. I was pinhead because we did that stupid thing. Anyway, we had to call our parents. We had to explain to them what happened. Can you please send us some money so that we can get the car fixed and come home? And they said no. We're like, what do you mean no? No, you guys made your bed. Now you sleep in it. We're not giving you any money. You stay there with Gramps. You get a job, you get the money to fix the car and to come all the way back home. Oh man, we were so thankful we had Gramps at least, but boy, were we surprised that our folks abandoned us. Well, they didn't abandon us. It was called tough love. Lesson learned, someday someday you're going to have to pay for what you've done wrong, And ultimately, we had to stay there all summer long and work. And we worked in a factory with high school dropouts, and that's a whole nother story. And it was a great experience to have. So that's the summer of '73, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.